We are here at Sports Bar and Grill Old Street for our live Super Bowl preview, the place where Sundays are made great again by showing all your NFL action throughout the season, including the biggest game of them all, the Super Bowl. Make sure you book your place to catch the biggest sporting event of the year by searching We Love Sport on your preferred app store. Welcome along, everyone, to the Sports Bar and Grill here on Old Street. It is the Super Bowl preview show with myself, Hannah Wilkes, a former Dallas Cowboy, Houston Texan, New York Giant, Jason Bell.
I just clapped for myself, didn't I?
And from the 5 Yard Rush podcast, the brilliant Murf.
Pleasure to be here.
So over the next hour or so, we are going to look back at the championship games briefly, because what a Sunday night of football. We're going to look ahead to the big game at SoFi on February the 13th. But first, there was some big news that finally was confirmed in the NFL this very afternoon. And that is the GOAT, Tom Brady, is no longer playing. He is out after 22 years, 7 Super Bowl titles. J-Bell, he's never going to be topped, is he? Was it time to walk away?
He will never be topped. I mean, the commitment he made to his craft every offseason, I don't think anybody else can do that. He was smart to go out this year because won the Super Bowl last year, and he should win the MVP. I mean, it's probably going to be Aaron Rodgers, but it's close. How do you walk away? How do you do anything like that? I mean, you literally brought your team to a championship, and then the last year of your career, you were arguably one of the best players. It was time. I think he understands the commitment it takes. It was time to be with his family. I mean, it was just great to watch. I mean, to witness what he did, it was amazing that we all could see it.
I mean, that's just the thing, isn't it? As NFL fans, you just have to feel so lucky that we were all watching this sport whilst he was playing this game. Murf, I know you are a huge Bucks fan. You got your 2 seasons in the sun, and that you have to be very thankful to Mr. Brady for.
Oh yeah, I mean, what he's done for the franchise is just unbelievable. You know, you look at Tampa, it was a losing culture, turning over head coaches every couple of years. You know, no matter how they were building that roster, they weren't winning games. You know, 12 years, no postseason. Tom Brady comes in and not just takes them to the postseason, but he wins Super Bowl in that first year. And then, you know, this year, as J-Bell said, he was even better this year. Should be the MVP. Led all the categories that you would want in a quarterback: passing touchdowns, yards. He did it at 44. I mean, it's actually mind-boggling, like how good he was. And you know, he led the Buccaneers to a record 13 wins. You know, they've never done that in their franchise. I don't agree it was time. I would have liked to see one more season, but I understand it. And you know, it's an amazing career, and I don't think it will ever be topped.
I want to give everybody here a little nugget. So if you saw his little farewell thing, he talked to Alex Guerrero and talked about their relationship, and it was his trainer. Now, Alex Guerrero came from us. Me, Willie McGinnis, guys out of Long Beach. He was somebody we worked with. And when he got hurt early on in his career, Willie McGinnis said, you need to work with Alex Guerrero. He's going to help you. 2 years later, Tom Brady took him full time, and none of us had access to Alex Guerrero again. And then Tom Brady plays forever. But yeah, that relationship and what he did with Alex in the offseason is the reason why he played to that level for that many years.
He's set a new standard as well, hasn't he, in what quarterbacks do outside of the football season. You look at, you know, the work Josh Allen's done with Jordan Palmer. You look at these guys trying to find their team, their people around them. He's changed the way this game is played.
Yeah, it's no longer just seasonal, right? It's not I'm in season and I do work then and then I go off and vacation. I mean, I remember when Russell Wilson came over here. He had 5 people with him. His whole vacation, all these trainers, because he doesn't stop. You cannot get off the train, and your body is your job, and you only have so much time to get ready for the season. They all know that.
And here's a question, kind of for you guys as well. Murf, I know you've watched the game grow massively since you've been watching it, since you came back from the States. J-Bell, I know you've seen a huge change over here on these shores. How much of that do we think is down to Tom Brady? Like, how many people here would be watching this sport if Tom Brady hadn't got them into it? No, I'm getting a head shake. An agreement or disagreement? No? Oh, really? I find that surprising, because I think he has got so many people over here into the sport. I think a lot of people, they don't know the NFL at all. You say Tom Brady and they go, oh yes, Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. You know, a lot of times when I first got over here, you know, truth be told, there's two names people always say, Colin Kaepernick and Tom Brady, you know, that don't know and follow the game. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's fantastic what he's done. You know, to win all of those Super Bowls, to be at the top of your game, you know, I can't even walk down the street at 43 years old, let alone do what he's doing. So you just understand it's something like we will probably never see again.
Yeah, and I would say with the international series, as we watched it grow, when Brady first got here, for the first time he was here, I think it was 2010 or 2009, it was the third or fourth edition. That, for me, the buzz around that was when the international series really arrived. I know it was big when it first launched, it was very popular, but that to me was when it popped. It was like, Tom Brady's come to England to come and play a regular season game. And that for me is where that growth trajectory in the game has really worked. So I can understand people saying, yeah, I didn't get into it because of Tom Brady, but I think a lot of people really did, because I think when he came over, that was everything, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, that visibility. Well, look, he's done it. He's done. We're unlikely to see it again, but wasn't it a fun ride, even if he did beat your team in a Super Bowl, which happened to most of us. Right, let's dive in, though, to Super Bowl 56. We keep saying twice. Let's dive in, though, to this year's Super Bowl. We have our contenders, the Bengals and the Rams. Before, oh, it's already kicking off. I love it. Before we dive into the matchup itself, don't jump ahead, Jay.
Oh, sorry.
Look, I want to just look back at the conference championship weekend, because my goodness, you're watching the AFC Championship game, and early on, I'm not going to lie, I was contemplating a tactical nap. I was like, the Chiefs have got this. This is embarrassing. It's me. Bengals blowout. I might take a little third quarter nap now and get up and watch this late game. That was not in the Bengals play script.
You didn't believe in the Burrow magic, did you?
For a moment there, I didn't.
I mean, look at this guy's career. I mean, what he's done in college, who he is now. I mean, he's got it. It's almost dangerous, because I didn't even expect them to get this far. Every game they've won, I've thought, man, you know, it's great they've got this far, but there's no way they can continue to go. And I've been in a locker room where I've had a quarterback that you just believed in. And as a defender, all I wanted to do was make one play and get him the ball back. And that's what you see with this team. That's how they made that comeback happen. Even though the defense played well, it's the belief that this guy brings to that organization. It's something I have not witnessed.
And it's remarkable how quickly, not just they got Joe Burrow in, but Murf, the turnaround in attitude, it's literally pouring out of these Bengals players, this like next level swag from Burrow, from Chase, from Evan McKickson, as we're now renaming him. You know, I haven't heard it yet, but I really hope before he took that field goal, he went, we're going to Super Bowl, like he did in the last round of the divisional. There's just some special sauce going on in Cincinnati right now, isn't there?
And it's just confidence. You know, you look at teams that make the Super Bowl every year. There's always someone that's a little bit unfancied. You look at it 2 years ago, it was San Francisco. Not a very popular pick. Everyone thought they'd get steamrolled in Lambeau. But that confidence of that team and the way that they could run the football, that got them to the Super Bowl. Last year, everyone thought with Tom Brady at the start of the season, yeah, they're going to steamroll, and then they got into trouble. They got whooped by the Chiefs. They got whooped by the Rams. They go on a bye week. They get a bit of confidence, a bit of swagger, and all of a sudden they take that into the postseason. This year, that's the Bengals. The Bengals, when they beat the Chiefs in week 17, that was their turning point. That was like, we can hang with the big boys. Yeah. You know, they had some terrible losses on their record. They lost to the Jets. They lost.
There's a Jets fan.
Take it when you can.
We have to give the Jets something.
Take it.
Right? And you have to look at it and go, that was their turning point. That was the point where I think everyone in that locker room believed, not just that they were going to the playoffs, but they were here to win it. And you know, they did an amazing job.
There's one thing interesting on when you look at this team. Defensively, right? In the offseason, they kind of build it in free agency. They got a lot of different players. What we're going to watch and witness in the Super Bowl, and we saw this at the halftime as far as their adjustments. When you have all those veteran players that have played in different places, they've learned a lot of different techniques. When you're in the game and you got to do something on the fly, it's easy to communicate with those kind of guys. And you see that by the way they play. When they have to fix something, the D coordinator can say, this is what we tried, isn't working, we're going to go to plan B. You know what that is, play your technique. They do that extremely well.
And that's where Lou Anarumo deserves a game ball for last week, because you look at that halftime score, as you say, you're thinking the tactical nap, everyone thinks it's all done. He changes the whole game plan. He drops 8, and he forces Mahomes to think about it and think, what we're doing isn't working. We need to make that adjustment. How are we going to force Patrick Mahomes? We take away the deep threat. We take Travis Kelce out of the game. We're going to take away the easy completions. And we're going to make you beat us.
Yeah. And so why is that significant? Why did they drop 8? They actually did it earlier in the game, but this is what happens with Andy Reid. This is when we used to play him. He got a little better at this. Some teams throw to spots. They throw to areas. And that's what the quarterback does. It's like, I got to throw to this area, timing, receiver, you got to make it there. Once I've figured out where those spots are, as a zone defender, I just got to get to the spot. And it takes a little time to do that. And usually by halftime, if your coordinator, and their coordinator is a defensive back guy, can say, I've seen this, these are the spots. I told you to drop 8 yards in your hook curl, now drop 12. Things like that. This is what Mike Zimmer used to do when we were in Dallas. So these are the kind of adjustments they're doing on the fly. This is why tactically, this is going to be very interesting against the Rams.
We will delve into that.
I'm sorry, I don't even know why I got there.
I know, that was really interesting. I was fascinated.
It's being in a bar. It feels good.
It's so relaxed right now. We still need to get J-Bell some chicken wings. Just throwing it out there.
Whoever ate some chicken wings, let me know.
Let's talk about the NFC Championship game, because it was a very different ball game to watch. It felt the whole way through, didn't it, that it was going to be a mistake that gave the other team the edge. And lo and behold, Jimmy G will eventually throw an errant ball. And he did in the worst possible timer.
Yeah, he really did. And, you have to look at, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, you just talked about adjustments on the fly. I find that Kyle Shanahan doesn't do that. It's too conservative. It's too safe. And, there's no coincidence that he lost a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator with the largest ever, lead ever, and then the largest ever fourth quarter blown lead in the Super Bowl when they lost to the Chiefs. And now he's got the largest fourth quarter blown lead in an NFC title game.
Oh, you hard on Kyle.
Yeah, he's not a fan, is he?
No, well, I am. I'm a big fan. He does a lot of great things, but it's just, as you say, it's not just the quarterback. I mean, it was a bad throw at a bad time, but that offense wasn't running. Deebo Samuel was hurt. They took him out of the game. There was just nothing. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't, they went away from what was working from them, and they just went to a very conservative mindset. And they allowed the Rams. If you give Matt Stafford, we've seen this, we saw it against the Buccaneers. If you just give him a window, he's going to take it. He is good enough to do it.
And if you get a fired up Rams defense, now Aaron Donald may be arguably the best player in football, definitely the best defensive player. You rarely see him as fired up on a sideline as he was on Sunday. And when a guy like that, who's usually quite reserved, gets fired up, his teammates listen.
He's ready to go. I mean, he wants to get back there. When they lost last time, I believe he was kind of banged up in the game a little bit too.
Yeah, he was really hurt.
So the main thing is they had to sell out to stop the run, and they did that. I will say this about Kyle Shanahan. In my opinion, and that's all I got, he might be the best offensive play caller in football. The way he designs runs, it is just like his dad did. It is, I'm going to make you think you're getting blocked from every direction, every different look. It's going to be painful for you to stop the run. I always say this about coordinators, and you saw this with what happened with Jimmy G. They tell you about what they think about their personnel by the plays they call. He doesn't take those chances. Why? What are the reasons behind that? There's a reason why he wanted Matthew Stafford too in the offseason. He was ready to take a trip out there to go get it. I think they were in Mexico hanging out. He was trying to make it happen.
Wrong resort. If Kyle Shanahan had booked a different hotel, it could be a very different story.
You see, You got the inside track. I didn't even know that. But it's so when I look at what happened now in this, where we are in football, everybody's chasing that quarterback because you are a couple of throws away. At this point, I'm going to take away what you do well. Kyle Shanahan, I'm going to sell out to stop the run. I'm going to make sure that if you put it on Jimmy G and make him make these tight window throws, and hopefully he makes a mistake. And that's what happened.
And both conference championship games coming down to 3 points kind of sums up this season. I mean, Andy Reid said it himself that no lead has been safe this year, and talk about, self-fulfilling prophecy. It has been sensational in how close and how unpredictable these games have been. What is that down to, J-Bell? What's been the difference this year? Because it's been entertaining from start to finish, and no one predicted this Super Bowl matchup.
It's a word I can't spell, parody. I can't even sound it out. And that's what the NFL is. It's all about parity. I mean, it's all built upon breaking the good teams down and building the bad ones up with the draft, with free agency, all of that. And that's what we have. We have parity in the NFL. And now that a lot of teams really hit on their quarterback position, especially the young ones, you see what we're going to have in the AFC for years to come. This is going to be amazing. Just getting to the Super Bowl in the AFC is going to be so challenging because of these quarterbacks. But yeah, it comes down to that. It's all about these teams, because of the way they have to be managed, are so equal. It comes down to small things. Coaching really matters now. There's not a lot of parity in that, but as far as players are on the field, that's what it is.
Yeah. And also, it's interesting that it's all built up about home field. Home field is so important, and home field gives, but not this year, and it is, because of that parity. And you just look at the way that the rosters are constructed now. They're built in so many different ways. We'll talk about it when we get to the Super Bowl matchup, but just there is more than one way, and we now finally have smart people in the front office making smart decisions. There's a good amount of data analytics that are picking up players that were maybe undervalued 5-10 years ago because they didn't meet certain size metrics or didn't, Drew Brees broke the mold for quarterbacks of, you don't have to be 6'2" and above. You can be small and make
Kyler Murray's dropped that scale
Kyler
again.
Murray's dropped it again.
But they have limitations.
They do have limitations.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of Drew and Kyler, what happened to Kyler this year? Everybody's like, guy can't see over the line. Mm-hmm. I mean, as good as he is, we just got to get in his face. He can throw through lanes. Drew Brees, what made him so good is he can find these lanes. And the whole offense was built upon him throwing through those lanes. Sean Payton is genius at it. But it's hard when you're a short quarterback.
Well, that's the difference, isn't it? Sean Payton did it for years. He knows how to do that. He schemed to the strengths of his quarterback. And that's where you don't just necessarily pick the best player. You pick the right player. And that is the difference between good drafts and bad drafts, because if you pick the right player for your system and how you scheme it, you're going to keep your job as a coach because you're going to see that progression. We saw it Matt Nagy this year. He took Justin Fields because he panicked, because they were clamoring for a quarterback. He thought, we're doing this. Brian Pace, they took him because he was the best on the board. They thought, we have to do this to save our jobs, and we have to do this to try and make the franchise better. But was he a good fit for what Matt Nagy does? No, because it didn't work. And it's not just because Justin Fields is a rookie. I think Justin Fields played quite well, but it didn't fit into any of those strengths. And I think that's the difference, is these teams like the Bengals have hit because they didn't just pick the right players. It's easy to say, well, we picked Joe Burrow, but they didn't go offensive line when they probably should have done. Well, it's worked out, but...
Man, that Burrow's different.
Oh, he's different. Great.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, this kid is special.
Do you think as well, with what we've seen, particularly in the playoffs and this whole season, actually, that what you need from your quarterback now? I mean, look at the Rams. If they made it to that NFC Championship game with Jared Goff, and they did make it to a Super Bowl with him, they are not in the Super Bowl if Jared Goff is playing quarterback. Has the bar raised from, you need a top 12 quarterback to almost, you need top 8, top 6, top 5 if you're going to be in the big dance?
Yeah, you need top 5. I mean, you can win games with a top 10 guy. I mean, the whole knock on Lamar Jackson is, you're going to win games. Can you make it to the Super Bowl? Can you win the Super Bowl? People haven't seen that kind of style and what he does work. Right now, we are looking at every team has a quarterback. Right now, these 2 teams have quarterbacks. The last 4 had a quarterback. And these 2 teams that are in the game have quarterbacks that play well and close games out. So no longer, you got to be great, but you got to be a closer.
I was about to say, don't rub it into Murf. His team literally, as of today, do not have a quarterback.
Yeah. Thanks, J-Bell. That's okay. We got a ring. We're still Super Bowl champions.
2 more weeks. 2 more weeks.
Doesn't matter. We're still at the top of the mountain.
You're good, man. You had a good year. Spread the wealth.
Yeah.
But look, we have had one of the most sensational seasons ever. We've got this matchup that we didn't see coming. We thought we'd do, and we are going to get into the Super Bowl preview, I promise you. But we'll do first some 2021 We Love Sport NFL Season Awards. So I want to know 3 things from each of you, and I'm going to start with who is your league MVP up to this point? So regular season and all the way to pre-Super Bowl MVP. Whoever wants to go first. The Jets fan at the front already had a vote.
Yeah.
I was all Aaron Rodgers until that last playoff game. I can't do it. So I'm Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, but I was A-Rod until that game.
I think it was Tom Brady all the way through. I just think 13 wins with the Buccaneers is just unheard of. It's never been done. At 44, all that narrative. Even in the playoff game, I just think everything he's done, you have to give it to Brady.
Well, you know what? He's almost definitely going to win it now that he has retired. But my vote is definitely, I'm with the Jets fan at the front, Cooper Kupp. He'll never win it because he's not a quarterback, but he should win MVP.
He was balling.
Yeah,
he was balling. It's just so hard to get, they don't give it to non-quarter.
They really don't. You know what? Let's just rebrand it. Let's just call it the quarterback of the year and stop pretending it's MVP.
I'm with you on that.
For you, coach of the year, J-Bell.
Mike Tomlin.
Tell me for why.
What he had to do with that roster. I mean, he had to will Big Ben through. And he did it. I mean, a winning record, got him to the playoffs. Everything, even the way he deals with what the players do off the field. I always had a lot of respect for him, but I thought he was lucky. But what I saw when he had a quarterback that should not have been on the field, how he constructed the game plan week to week to go out there and perform the way they did, I had to give it to him.
One of my favourite moments of this season, actually, was that little romantic look of love between Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers as Mike Tomlin called a timeout right at the Packers snap in that game. Do you reckon he's going to get?
Man, I wish. I mean, wow, that would be amazing.
It was a look of nothing but guy love. It was beautiful.
I can't see it with the cap situation, but I think it would be good.
Mike
Tomlin deserves it. He absolutely deserves to have a coach, and a quarterback, because I agree with you. I think he did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. Is he your coach of the year as well?
I'm going to go with Mike Vrabel.
That was my number 2.
Because I just think Mike Vrabel, you think of how they would have designed their playbook in the offseason, a lot of run through Derrick Henry. You lose him in week 8. And not only do you just lose him, you lose him for the rest of the season. All right, he comes back for the playoffs. But we just talked about how stacked the AFC is. And they ended up top of the pile. Yes, okay, they got eliminated by the Bengals. But with all those injuries, at one point they didn't have a wide receiver of note on the roster. They lost Brown, they lost Julio Jones, and then you lose Henry. They were running with just guys. And they were still winning games, and they got it done when it was tough, and that D stepped up, and they were great. And I'd give it to Mike Vrabel. I just think, but Mike Tomlin again was my 2. I think they were definitely head and shoulders above everyone else this year.
I am going to agree with you, Murf. I think what Mike Vrabel managed to do without the King was phenomenal, and he just wanted them to get a little bit further in the playoffs or anywhere really. I mean, This year was definitely an argument for not being the number 1 seed, not having home advantage, and not having a bye week. All the things they really pushed for. Game of the year, and this includes the playoffs.
This one's easy.
Go on, if it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. It's
I think we're all going to be in agreement on this one.
Yeah, it's Bills Chiefs.
100%. Anyone deign to disagree that Bills Chiefs was? Oh God, this guy over here is looking at me very concerned. What's your? Oh, I thought that was like what are you talking about? Anyone disagree? No, we're all unanimous.
That was perfection.
I do not
unanimous.
Disagree. Yeah, that was ridiculous. I mean, no quarterback made a mistake. I mean, as a defender, if I would have won that game and I was on defense, I would have cheered for 3 seconds and then cried. Because it's just like, we're going to get chewed out in the meeting room. Because it was just, they couldn't stop those guys. Think about it. If you are a quarterback going into free agency and you're a vet, Aaron Rodgers, do you want to go to the AFC?
No.
That's the only place that Green Bay are willing to send him, though.
Apparently. I don't want no parts of that because those 2 boys are going to give it to you. And Burrow, it's amazing.
Your heart still breaks a little bit for Josh Allen, doesn't it? Because he could not have played better. 2 weeks, shush, quiet, you're getting rowdy. Take that guy's drink.
Zach's going to be okay, too.
You couldn't have played a better game. Literally 2 weeks on the bounce, and it still was not enough.
Josh Allen has shown, this guy was written off when he was drafted. Everyone thought it was crazy that he was drafted where he was at 7, and the Bills traded up to get him, and everyone said he was never going to be this elite talent. But again, it shows you the dedication, the hard work, and he just has that intangible thing in you that you have to be a top level player. He lost on a coin flip, which I think we can all agree the overtime rule needs overhauling now after that.
Nah, man, just play defense.
I mean,
Nobody's arguing
Bengals
after this
fan would disagree.
Bengals game.
I mean, I purposely didn't mention that earlier. We spent all last week talking about the overtime rules, pitching our own, didn't we? Like everywhere, every show, every podcast, every blog. That was all dedicated to it. And this week, not a word.
I will say there's one thing I heard somebody say that I like. And instead of the coin flip, I think based on your record or your seeding in the playoffs, then you should get the ball in overtime. Because you fought for it. You earned it.
That's the first time I've heard that. That's not
I don't know where I heard it from. Could have been in a dream.
See,
Do you know what? If you can't remember, just take the credit. Great idea, J-Bell.
my alternative idea was by most touchdowns in the game.
What if there hasn't been one?
So if there hasn't been a touchdown or it's tied, then go on yards or first downs or something like that.
That's too complicated. That's
Somebody's gotta
way
track
too
that.
complex.
Because it will force you to really go for it in the fourth quarter so that you'll try and get a winner.
Well, they do anyway, most of the time.
Yeah, but I think
Okay.
hopefully it might break more ties.
Now look, J-Bell, I want to delve into that beautiful mind of yours, if we may. It is a big week, big couple of weeks.
Yes.
In fact, we were talking about this before we started recording, that it's tough, right, for these players in a lot of ways. They've just had huge wins, won conference championships. Both of these teams have got some serious momentum. They've rolled through the playoffs, and now you've got 2 weeks before your next game. In any big game, I want to know how a player, like what do you go to? Where do you go to really get ready for it? And from the guys out there now who've got much longer than usual to prepare, how do you stay focused, stay fresh, but then also not over-prepare? Because Sean McVay said last time the Rams were in a Super Bowl, he over-prepared. So there's that fine line balancing act.
Well, there's a friend of mine who's done this twice. So I've been able to talk to him about this and ask him
We
things.
couldn't get him.
I just got off the phone with him. He's watching Netflix, He's doing what he does. So this first week, like Monday, Tuesday, it's all about traveling. It's all about, getting your family, your friends to the Super Bowl. That's all you're thinking about. After that, lockdown. What we do, stick to the same kind of, what you do on a Wednesday, what you do on a Thursday, Friday, the same thing. It's just preparation. You got a little more time, so you're on the field, a lot more walkthroughs and things of that nature, and then next week you speed it up just like a normal game week. But you try to stick to your routine as much as possible.
From a coaching perspective as well, like I say, Sean McVay said he over-prepared. He was so worried about going up against Bill Belichick. This head coach matchup is the youngest in Super Bowl history. You kind of think, actually, does Zach Taylor have a bit of an advantage because he's not been burned before?
I think they fall off the same coaching tree, so they kind of know each other and how they think. The main thing about coaches, and you hear Bill Belichick talk about this, Bill will not only know what defense you run and where it came from, but he'll understand where that even started, meaning that he knows how you are going to adjust because he knows the history of that offensive defense. He knows this is your answer. And what happens now is they're going to do the self-scout, which is they're going to look at what they do, and they're going to say, do I have any tendencies through these playoffs? Now I need to have tendency breakers. So if I've run this route combination 3 times, I got to have one that isn't the same, right? They're going to fix that, and then they're going to think, they're going to really start to work out. If we're in a situation and you have to react as a play caller, what are you going to do? Are you going to be aggressive? Are you going to relax a little bit and play kind of soft? What are you going to do? Because that's what's on that page, that notepad is, how are you going to behave under pressure? And that's what they're really kind of digging into now.
And it's really interesting because looking back at the conference championships, obviously the Bengals, Zach Taylor made huge halftime adjustments. Sean McVay, for the first time in his career, came back from a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter to get a win. He was 0-20 in games of that nature up until Sunday. So in a way, Murf, they're kind of both a little bit unpredictable here, and that Sean McVay's finally learned how to make adjustments. I'm speaking as a frustrated Rams fan just for the moment. And Zach Taylor's so good at that.
Yeah, and I think one of the advantages here that probably hasn't been spoken about is Zach Taylor was on that coaching staff when they lost the Super Bowl. That was his last game. And then he went and he got the Bengals job. So he will know a little bit about how Sean McVay is going to prepare. He will have a little bit of that inside track as to, well, I've been here. I know what this team's going to do. That will give him a little bit of an edge. So he will be very different because he will go, now I know what I think they're going to do. And he can get a little bit more in the head. he can start to plan outside of the box. But yeah, it's great. I think, you have to evolve your coaching. You cannot do the same things because it gets picked up on film. We saw it in both the championship games, but the Bengals have done this all through the season. Where it wasn't clicking early in the season, they've made adjustments. They know how to make the right plays at the right times. I mean, Joe Burrow, I read a stat that Joe Burrow completed 12 passes over 50 yards this season, which is the most any quarterback has done in the last 20 years. And that's because it's not just because Joe Burrow's got this amazing arm talent, and it's not because, that's obviously part of it, but it's because they're finding ways to make these plays. The coaches are finding things on tape and making these adjustments.
And he's got Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase.
Listen, everybody right here. Players over plays. When you are one-on-one outside and your quarterback literally says, my guy's better than you. This is what happened with Randy Moss back in the day. It didn't matter how you were covering him. Whenever he sees Jamar Chase in a one-on-one situation, he is going for it. And that's why he has him. He'll go up there and compete for the ball. That's why that is their game. It is, can I force you into double covering out here? Then I can throw over the middle to T. Higgins. Because you do not want to be outside alone with Jamar Chase for too long.
And when we look at these two, especially offensive rosters, they are both so stacked. I don't know about anyone else, but I actually can't think of a more exciting Super Bowl matchup at this point. Like, give me the 49ers, I'd be heartbroken. Give me the Chiefs. We've seen that show before. This is so exciting. This is so new. And then you've got Burrow with Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. And, on defense, Trey Hendrickson, who's just a disruptor and a pain for any offense. And the Rams, you've got Stafford, Cup, OBJ, Van Jefferson. It's a ridiculous matchup. Which of those two offenses would you rather play for, not against?
Oh, I'd probably rather play for the Rams. Sean McVay his passing concepts, the way he's a genius at putting the second level defender in a bind. What does that mean? If you have a run responsibility and a pass responsibility, can I make that as blurry as possible? That's what he does well. That's why they get open. And I think what he's done this year with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp lets me know that he was hamstrung, with his old quarterback. The things he's calling, he has trust that his guy can make those throws. I just believe from a passing concept coordinator, Sean McVay, he lights it up.
Would you not want to play with Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow is a winner. I mean, this guy is going to, if he wins the Super Bowl.
I was asked about the coach.
Yeah. But he's going to be, if he wins the Super Bowl, he is going to be the first quarterback ever in the history to have won a college championship, the Heisman, and the Super Bowl. And he could do it all within 3 years.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's just amazing what he's done.
So this is why this game is so difficult for me. It's because Burrow has that magic and that belief that when Brady won in 2001, that team, right? They were the underdog. It was the greatest show on turf, all that stuff against the Rams. And I'm looking at Burrow and I'm looking at this team and I'm like, is this a team of destiny? This guy, the way they can come back, the way they believe in him. When the whole, okay, I'm just gonna be honest. Remember when in the off season, was it Drew Brees came out and said it was talking about taking a knee and stuff like that, but people were like, we need a quarterback to step up. You know the first quarterback to say anything in the entire NFL? Joe Burrow.
No way. I missed that.
So me and Osi were like, oh my goodness, this team is going to go crazy. These dudes are going to put it on the line for him. First guy to step up and say something. All the quarterbacks didn't want to talk. Joe Burrow.
And it's remarkable for someone so young. And I mean, we've talked about the energy shift that's been there. And CJ Uzomah has talked at length, actually. He's been at the Bengals for a while. The rest of them kind of knew. He's seen the mood change. He sees the energy shift. He's seen the belief change. Does that, for you, Murf, give the Bengals an edge?
I think it does. And I think the thing that I think everyone loves about Joe Burrow is not just the talent, it's the person behind the talent.
And the glasses.
And the glasses,
tasting
which are cool. I'll never forget when he was drafted. Now listen, he knew he was going number one weeks, months before. There's amazing opportunities going number one. And this is where you see the contrast to someone like Baker Mayfield, where he had everyone, he was in that big hall, it was a big thing. And I get COVID probably played a part in this. He was at home with his mum and dad. He wore a t-shirt with his area code of where he lives because he knew it was a deprived area and he wanted to get the attention of that town on the map and said, this is where I'm from, this is who I am. Who doesn't want to play for that guy? Who doesn't want to play for the guy who just wears his heart on his sleeve, he tells you how it is, and he's just got this amazing personality as a leader, as just a friend, as a colleague, as anybody. I don't think you'll find anyone that have a bad word to say about Joe Burrow. And
He's special.
Yeah.
He really is. They better protect him, but
yeah, that's a big thing.
Okay, so that was literally going to be my next point and question, in that we know both these offenses can put points on the board. They are stacked with weapons. Is this going to come down to defenses? Because in that case, you look at the Rams and you look at how Von Miller has played the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
You look at Aaron Donald, he is hungry for this ring. And then you look at Joe Burrow getting sacked so much, particularly in the division round, 9 sacks he took. That's going to catch up at some point. Does the Rams defense, although maybe you think offensively, that the belief and the fact that there's that destiny side of it maybe gives Joe Burrow like a bit of a sparkle, a bit of an edge. Defensively though, the Rams is the stronger unit here against that O-line.
Yeah, Aaron Donald, Von Miller. Von Miller is playing well right now. This is what they needed. They needed him to be peaking at this time. He is. That's going to be a problem. Burrow is they're not going to change so much in what they do. They will do some formation things to try to, protect him a little bit, but it's going to be on Burrow. And I saw this last game. They put it in his hands. They said, don't take the sacks. Get rid of the ball if you got heat. Let's live another down because they're going to win. When that happens, just, get to the next down. But the main thing is he's so good at processing information. And you saw this in the last game. When they went and they played 2-man, meaning the defensive backs, they turned their back, right? They're playing underneath the guy, so their back is turned to the quarterback. He did what Patrick Mahomes has done successfully all year. He took off and ran right then and there. So it showed me they got a plan for when things are getting a little fuzzy for him. So I believe pressure's on. He's going to step up, move. He's going to run more because he's just going to have to do things to slow that defensive line down. The screen game is going to be big again. They did that this week. A lot of no huddle, maybe. If Aaron Donald's not on the field, taking a breather, he doesn't take many. Hurry up offense. Do not let him back on the field. That's what they do. So I expect little things like that. But it's still going to be hard, man. They're going to come bring the heat at him.
But having said that, with Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow is 4th in the NFL in expected points against blitzing defenses. So ironically, Matt Stafford is number 1. And he's put up, I think he put the highest points up of any expected points against the blitz of any QB in the last 15 years this season.
Sounds right.
Both QBs are very good against the blitz. They're also both very good in man. Both top 4 in man coverage against those. So yes, I think there is a deficiency there. It's obvious, but if you're going to have anyone that can get out of that situation, his processing speed, his time to throw, his release, everything, Burrow will get out of that situation more often than not. So I think
they're not blitzing though.
No,
they don't have to blitz when you got Aaron Donald and Von Miller.
True.
The only person they delay blitz is Reader, number 51, and that's because they don't want him in coverage because he's liability. So they're like, do delay blitz so we can protect you. They know the reason why Cooper Kupp has been so efficient. I mean, the reason why Matthew Stafford is so good versus the blitz is Cooper Kupp. Man, he sees it coming. He got man-on-man with Cooper. Cooper has a 2-way go. Game time. All day long. And that's what makes him so good. This is what makes it so dangerous. You're going to have to bring pressure. It's going to happen. But like I said earlier about the coordinators and why it's so interesting on how they study each other, it's like, as a play caller, when do I break him? When does he get so frustrated that he stops playing this, this coverage being safe and he comes after me? Okay, here's your play. Whoever the quarterback is.
I feel like we've gone full circle there and come to the conclusion that these are two very good offenses and both have a good chance of putting points on the board. But look, in terms of the Bengals defense then, my question is more about the secondary for them. Do they have the backfield players to be able to cover at once Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., and probably Van Jefferson as well?
It's going to be tough. I like their two safeties. They're really good. It's all going to be about how they disguise and getting lucky. You know that Matthew Stafford is going to take risk. Do you capitalize on that? You do not want to be in man-to-man coverage all day. You can't do it. I mean, the way they are structured is the man beater is Cooper Kupp in the slot. The zone beater is Odell Beckham, because the way he runs his routes, he's got so much speed and acceleration. He can run through your zones and your void. And if you just get him the ball then, he's running in the open field. That is a threat. That's going to be tough. The only way you beat that is man coverage. Then you go to Cooper Kupp. It's going to be very difficult. So it's all about how they disguise and adjust to how they're being attacked, which, like we said earlier, they do really well. They can adjust to whatever the game plan is that Sunday.
And this game could be really decided on defense just by a handful of plays. And if you look at the tale of the two championship games, they swung because Pratt and the Cincinnati Bengals, they took their opportunities that were given to them. They made those big plays. They got those interceptions. You look at Tart, that ball is heavily underthrown. It's right in the numbers. He drops the ball. That cost him the game.
Do you think it's stopped haunting him yet? Has he stopped yet thinking about that?
I feel bad for him. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be where this game is going to be won or lost, because we know Stafford has at times underthrown this ball. We know that is probably likely to happen in the Super Bowl. The Bengals have to capitalize if they want to win this game. They cannot put the ball down. They're going to have to take those opportunities, be aggressive at times, but pick your spots and force plays, because if not, and the Rams the same, because Joe Burrow's going to go deep. He's going to be electric. And, McVay and company are going to have to, Raheem Morris are going to have to work out a way to stop Jamar Chase, stop those one-on-ones, and make plays.
As a fan, there's one thing, just watch this in the beginning, and I did this last game. Figure out who the officiating crew is, right? And you can see how many penalties they've thrown. But just watch the first quarter and see, if you see something, you see a pass interference, you say, they let one fly. Then it's go time. Yeah. From then on, everybody's going to be aggressive, holding, playing tough until there's a flag called.
Well, that's what the Bengals did in the AFC Championship game. They realized early, right, that the officials were playing it quite light. And for a young team, they adjusted so smartly to take full advantage of that.
Yeah, I'm holding all day. I held all the time anyway. So if I could get away with it, it's happening. And we know that. This is something we talk about. Hey, they're letting us play. So that's something just watching the game you can see. And if they're letting them do that on the outside, they're letting them hold on the inside with the offensive lineman too, which, what does that do? That protects Joe Burrow. When their deficiency on the O-line, they know they're getting away with holding.
But they're both well-disciplined teams. They don't give away many penalties. Both only average about 35, 36 yards a game. It's pretty equal. So, they're not going to give you big pass interference plays. They're not going to give you those chuck penalties that often. Maybe the pressure of the game, maybe that causes that mistake. Maybe the thought of, if I don't make this pass interference play, we're going to lose the Super Bowl. That could change it, but I wouldn't expect a big flag fest.
No.
In this game.
That's what's going to make them play aggressive, which is going to be interesting.
There really isn't much between these two. What is then going to be the difference maker? Is it going to be that drop ball? Is it going to be that penalty? Is it going to be a wasted challenge and bad time management? What gives you the edge in this game?
Aaron Donald.
Oh, wow.
Aaron Donald has to wreck this game, and he can. If he wrecks this game, it's going to be tough. And he's that kind of player. We're talking about one of the best players in football. And he is ready. He's motivated. He's got Von Miller. They can put him on the same side, which means their whole defensive line, all they're trying to do is this. They try to design ways to make you have to single Aaron Donald. That's all they're doing on the front. And they're doing it in ways that I don't even understand, but I see it happen. And that's all they're designing all game, to get him in a one-on-one situation. And he will wreck the game if that happens. That is what I'm looking at. That is the main thing. Everywhere else, it's pretty evenly matched, but Aaron Donald can take over.
I think it's going to come down to Jamar Chase. I think if Jamar Chase has that game we saw against the Chiefs in Week 17, Bengals win. I mean, it's all going to come down to, can you get him? Because I think if you can even get him one-on-one, even with Ramsey.
Well, that was going to be my next thing, right? You put him up against Jalen Ramsey, who's, in my biased opinion, the best in that position in the league.
He is, but he can get beat.
Yeah,
Mike Evans beat him in the round before.
He was sitting. He was guessing on a route. He was tripping, though. But they want to go after number 11, Williams.
Yeah.
They do not want to go after Ramsey. And I'll tell you why. The reason Jamar Chase is so effective on the outside, he plays like he's 6'4", and it's the way he attacks the ball in the air.
He's 6'3".
Yeah.
He's taller than you think.
Oh, see, there it is. That makes sense then. I thought he was like 6'2".
that tall.
But
He's
that
just
extra
long.
inch is important.
His arms or whatever. And you watch him, he's always catching the ball like this. A lot of times receivers let it come in this way. He's attacking the ball. Jalen Ramsey, what makes him so good on the outside is the way he attacks the ball in the air. That's a bad matchup. That is a 50-50 opportunity. But if you get him on number 11, Williams, he is going to eat. So how do you scheme that up? Really, this is what the coordinators are doing. I'm trying to get my A player versus your B or C player. And that's all I'm trying to do. And that's if they can do that formation-wise, which they can, they will take shots at number 11. But run a lot of end breakers on Jalen. So it's going to be interesting. T. Higgins is a monster.
Yeah,
so,
he is.
If they can just protect, they have the weaponry on the outside to take advantage of the secondary of the Rams, which is their weak point, especially because of a lot of injuries. Number 33, the safety's playing really well. He was a former special teamer. I forget his name right now, but he's playing really well. But that's what you want to do, get those one-on-one battles. They can win that.
What is the key and what has the edge for you, Murf?
I think for me, if I'm looking at, look, you've got two outstanding one receivers, you've got two outstanding two receivers, even the three receivers. This is probably the most stacked wide receiver versus wide receiver. So I think for me, the key is going to be a little bit of who establishes the run. We have not even talked about any of the running backs in this game. The Rams tend to get rid of it early and tend to just abandon the run, and I think they're going to need. The one thing I've been critical about the Rams is time of possession and game management. And I think they need to keep Joe Burrow off the field as much as possible. And, if you look at the season, the Rams have actually not dominated time of possession. They average about 27 minutes. They need to flip that. They need to get 33, 34 minutes, maybe a little bit more. They need to do that by getting that run game established. They need to just go on some long drives, keep Burrow off the field, because that will make him frustrated. If you make Burrow frustrated, you get him off his routine, you get him out of the game. We've seen this with so many great quarterbacks. They take a little bit more risk, or they just give it a little bit too much juice, and then that's where those opportunities are going to come for Ramsey, for the defense, to make the play. So I think the run game is heavily important here for both teams, because we know that the Bengals are going to run on first down probably the majority of the time. We know that they're going to try and establish it with Mixon. They also know they're going to get him out in the screen. They're going to get some screens, some design short routes there to try and just eat clock and go on long drives. That's what they do. But I think the Rams need to do that. I think they don't want to give up the run too early in this game.
So run attempts matter. And the reason why they matter is because even if I don't get any yards, I have to defend it, which makes me have to step up regardless, which is how the play action pass works. There's a void behind me. The one thing I'll say is this. If you lose this game, and you thought, hey, I wanted to go with this strategy, instead of riding your hot hand quarterback, you'd be sick.
Yeah.
That is what they are going to, both of these coordinators, both of these teams, they're going to say, this guy, throw us to a win. They will run the ball for the attempts. You're right. It didn't work out well for the Bengals, but they tried. But Joe Mixon, he can get hot. But it's more about, I need those linebackers. I need those safeties. I can't have them thinking it's a pass every down. They got to come downhill. They got to hesitate. There has to be that second that allows my pass concept to work.
And also, you don't want to score. It sounds crazy because we've seen this. You don't want to score too early.
You always want to score.
Well, yeah.
Score. Score.
we saw this with the Chiefs, that, 6 minutes left in the game. What they did was really smart. They took the clock all the way down. All right, they tried to score in, they didn't get in, but that was the plan of success. We can't lose if Burrow's not on the field. And that, would have worked if they'd not thrown the interception and scored in overtime. It would have been a winning strategy. So I think it's important that they do find some time just to get those 6-minute, 8-minute, 10-minute drives. They're going to be the key. We saw this last year with...
Those are hard to come by, man.
Very hard. That's why I'm glad I don't have to come up with the solution to it. I
That's why you loved having Tom Brady on his team.
Yeah.
But we saw this last year with they kept Patrick Mahomes off the field, the Buccaneers, and that's going to be a real key for both teams. If they can keep their quarterback off the field, they'll have a good chance to win the game.
If the 49ers would have been in the Super Bowl, they would have that would have been their game plan.
Yeah.
Man, let's slow this down. Because why? We don't trust our dude with the ball. This is different. Both teams are like, just give this guy a shot. Go, go, go. And that's why this is so exciting. That's why I can't wait to watch this, because at any point, both these teams can light it up. They got the star power everywhere for it to happen.
I think you just summed it up, right? We cannot wait to watch this matchup. One thing we haven't talked about, and it was the main topic of conversation this time last year, was that we've got a team playing a home Super Bowl yet again. We wait forever for this to happen, then we have it 2 back-to-back years.
It's not even a conversation anymore.
It's not, right? We're just like, oh yeah, it happens all the time that teams play Super Bowls at home. But we know this year home field advantage means pretty much nothing. The Bengals have got to the Super Bowl playing all their playoff games on the road. We know Cincinnati are going to be in LA in a big way. I mean, it's already a public holiday. Next Valentine's Day, the day after the Super Bowl, schools are closed in Cincinnati. They were expecting hangovers regardless.
Yeah.
Do the Rams have any advantage by the fact that this is in their home stadium, or is that completely irrelevant at this point?
At first I thought it was like 10 minutes ago. And then as you were just describing it, I thought, man, this could be a serious distraction for them. Everybody's coming into their town. It's party central. It's a lot of things that, you can go to dinner, you can do this. It's a lot of things that just don't keep you focused.
You're not isolated like you usually would be for a game.
Think about what Joe Burrow said earlier in the year. When some teams were coming down and significant players lost because of COVID. He said, "Oh, we're in Cincinnati. We don't got nowhere to go." And I was like, "Yes," because I've been on teams that when I first got to Dallas and I came from LA, I was like, "How do people get in trouble? This is Dallas. There's nothing to do." But for other people that had come from smaller places to Dallas, they were like, "This is the greatest thing in the world. They're out every night, getting it." And I'm like, "What are you doing?" So and I'm thinking of the team in LA, and I'm like, maybe this is a distraction for them. I thought it'd be easier because they didn't have to think about travel, but maybe it is an advantage.
And I think where the similarities are where it's different from last year. Last year with the Buccaneers, we still had a lot of COVID protocols. There weren't as many Chiefs fans.
Lockdown.
It was pretty much a lockdown, so there was very few Chiefs fans. It was a home game, except for there was Super Bowl 55 flags instead of Buccaneers flags. But the rest of it was a home game. It felt like a home game. It looked like a home game. From the noise, it was a home game. Because that LA market is still new, and the fact that this is such a big deal to the Cincinnati Bengals, they're going to travel.
Oh, they're going to have big fans in
They're
it.
going to blow life savings, right?
There's going to be more orange than blue in that stadium. I really believe
Not
that.
if I have anything to do with it.
But you'll be out there to stop that, right? So
Having to be pretending to be neutral for the day.
I don't know how you're going to do that. But I think what you've just said, though, could be a distraction for Cincinnati, because none of these players have been here. They haven't got anyone on their roster, I don't think. I can't think of a player off the top of my head.
So it makes them dangerous.
Just the coach.
Yeah, just Zach Taylor, who's been the one. So they, I don't know what it's like, but as a player, I can imagine Media Row and Media Week and all those interviews and everything, for a lot of these players, they're probably not used to that.
There is less this year.
Yeah.
The players come to town super late, so it's all the media availability, whereas pre-COVID times, obviously, every day you've got availability with the top players, the coaches, the lot. That's only happening on Friday, and it's only a limited number of players available. So to that end, it's kind of like a normal week, which again is probably an advantage for Cincinnati. Surely if you're the Rams, you're booking a hotel and you're playing it like an away Super Bowl to an extent to keep that level of control that you'd have if it was in Atlanta or Minnesota or New York.
But they're home. They are home in Los Angeles with a lot of distractions. So I'm saying all this because I want the Rams to win. So I'm slowly but surely trying to really look at every different angle and why the Bengals have an advantage. And, Joe Burrow, Heisman, National Championship, Jamar Chase. National championships are big.
Yeah.
Pressure. Been there. You're looking at him. How does he respond? How does he react? Cool, calm. We got this. Let's follow your lead. And that's what we're dealing with. What has Matthew Stafford done?
That's a good point.
He lived in Detroit for a really long time, so that's resilience.
He just had to realize. That's true. He had to just realize he just realized this year on how to operate in a game and not lose it, because he was always losing, always trying to come back. He just had to figure out, hey, I need to adjust my play like this. One thing about Aaron Rodgers that makes him one of the best is he knows how to play that day. Like, he's like, I need to play like this. Oh, I need to turn it on. Boom. Okay, I need to relax. Don't put ball in harm's way. Don't do things. Matthew Stafford just learned that. That's why he's always throwing the ball. He's a gunslinger. He bounces back from it, but he takes risks.
But what about someone like Von Miller in the dressing room? Because he's been there. He's been the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
So he knows.
That whole team has been there. I mean, they had a lot of people that have been there. And you're right. Big. What Von Miller does, what Aaron Donald and what they're going to do is they're looking at each other and they're like, listen, fellas, we're going to be like old school Baltimore. We're going to win this game on defense. And that's what they're saying. That's how they're thinking. And that's what makes it so scary.
They're going to ironically adopt what Bill Belichick did to the Rams 3-4 years ago now. I lose track. What is time after COVID? I don't even know. Look, we know, J-Bell, that you want the Rams to win. Who is, though, going to win the Super Bowl? And if I may be so bold as to ask you for a score prediction, I'm going to do it.
Man, I'm making up scores, so I'm not even going to do you like that. Everything in my football mind, evaluating, from an evaluation standpoint, says the Rams. But this dude, Joe Burrow, and this team is like destined to win this game. And that's what's killing me. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just got hot, things worked out, and it was all good. But I'm rolling with the Rams. I'm from LA.
Yes. You got to roll with your home team,
I can't go. I got to roll with LA.
Who's it for you?
I'm going to paint you a scenario.
Oh, I love it. But use colour.
Okay. So you've got the away end, full of orange. You've got Joe Burrow, 2-minute offense, 1 minute on the clock, tight game, takes it all the way down. Evan McPherson gives him a wink, and he says, well, I guess we're lifting the Lombardi Trophy. 34-31 Bengals.
That would be epic if that happened. That would be so cool.
I just really hope he's mic'd up and he says it.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yo, that kicker could go anywhere, man. He would never buy a drink again.
He's finally made kickers reputable, right?
I love that dude.
He's made taking kickers early in the draft.
I hate kickers, but I like that guy. Don't ever get in a debate with a kicker. They got so much free time. They do nothing at practice. They're always in the hot tub, like with a book. You like, how you got time to read a book, man? They are killing us. Oh man, I love kickers though. I was a special teamer.
I was gonna say you were special teams. You have to like.
Me and the punter were cool. I was like, bruh, punt to my side. I'm gonna make this tackle. I'm gonna have a job.
He got you paid.
Punt to this side. We're good.
Oh my God, you know what, Murf? I've sat here as a Ram fan and you've even got me thinking that would be a cool ending to a Super Bowl. You're a sneaky little storyteller. I think we've covered pretty much everything. Have you got another thought?
No, this is why I'm so confused. Like, that story, I want that story. But then I was like, but I just went for the Rams.
It's a tough one,
it was
right?
good. I felt it. It was very colorful, too. Good job, yeah.
I think we can conclude that football will be the winner
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is 100%.
That's a wrap for our Super Bowl preview here at Sports Bar and Grill Old Street. Make sure to download the We Love Sport app to book your place to catch the Super Bowl and all the very best sporting action.